Dr. Barry Marshall held the cure to a debilitating disease right in his hands, but no one in the medical world would listen to him. At the time, the established consensus was that stomach ulcers were caused by stress and excess acid. Marshall's theory, that a simple bacteria was the culprit, sounded absurd to his peers. To them, the stomach was an acid bath where no life could possibly survive. Marshall was suffering from the curse of knowledge. This is a psychological bias where once you know a truth, it becomes nearly impossible to imagine what it's like not to know it. You lose the ability to speak the language of a skeptic. Having the right answer is useless if you lack the architecture to bridge the gap between discovery and belief. Marshall had no external credibility. He wasn't a world-renowned expert. He was a young researcher in Perth, Australia, with no major funding and no prestigious institutional backing. We face this same frustration whenever we try to persuade an audience from a position of low status. Without a high-status credential, your ideas are often dismissed before you even finish your sentence. If you cannot rely on your own authority, you must engineer credibility directly into the message itself. One way to bypass traditional experts is to leverage the anti-authority. A surgeon general quoting statistics about lung cancer feels clinical and easy to ignore, but the lived experience of a dying smoker carries a visceral weight that numbers can't match. The authenticity of a painful personal truth often carries more psychological impact than a dozen institutional titles. But what if you don't have a spokesperson at all? In those cases, you have to build internal credibility. You can anchor a story by using hyper-specific, vivid details. In a courtroom, a lawyer mentioning that a witness used a Darth Vader toothbrush makes the testimony feel grounded and real. Many people reflexively reach for statistics to build trust, but raw, abstract numbers often fail to register. The human brain isn't wired to process the scale of thousands of nuclear warheads. To fix this, you must use human-scale statistics. The Beyond War movement proved this by dropping a single metal BB into a bucket to represent the Hiroshima bomb, and then thousands of them to represent the current threat. The clatter of the metal made the danger tangible. This diagram shows how abstract corporate data on organizational inefficiency can be mapped onto a soccer field. In Stephen Covey's analogy, those numbers translate to only 4 players knowing which goal is theirs and the rest of the team actively playing against each other. Numbers are only persuasive when they illustrate a human-scale relationship. You can also establish credibility by passing the Sinatra Test, named after the song New York, New York. The idea is that if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. The Indian shipping firm Saf Express used this to win over skeptical corporate clients who doubted their reliability. They proved their competence by revealing they successfully handle the distribution of national high school exams and sensitive pirated Bollywood movie reels, cargo where a single leak is a disaster. Surviving a single high-stakes stress test is more credible than showing a portfolio of average successes. Which brings us back to Dr. Barry Marshall. He was still stuck. He had no status, his data was being ignored, and he had no Sinatra test to point to. In a final act of desperation, he deployed the Testable credential. He stood before his peers, raised a beaker of bacteria, and drank it. A Testable credential removes the speaker's ego. It stops being about whether you should trust the man, and starts being about the audience interacting with the claim for themselves. Wendy's used this same psychology in the 1980s. They didn't quote beef weight statistics. They just challenged the customer to look at a competitor's oversized bun and ask, "Where's the beef?" To make an idea stick, you have to stop demanding trust and instead give your audience the tools to reach the conclusion themselves.